I wanted to make this video. I felt convicted, and I was interested in talking. I saw this article that 150,000 people are dying every day, and it makes me think. Like these people are dying every day, not knowing where they're gonna go, and the Bible even says how broad and wide the path is to destruction, to hell, and how narrow is the path to heaven. And like I just like it makes me upset that people, they don't have this fear for God even whenever they know, like, for people who don't believe, like they're like, the Bible even talks about people who don't believe, which is like crazy, because everything that those people, they live their life in a lie. And God has already tried to reach through those people in a lie, and yet when they have rejected so many times, God lets them believe that lie, and they live their whole life like as such. But what made me want to make this video is, like, I hadn't talked about some of the stuff that I'd seen in my first video that I made of my testimony with the experience I had with witchcraft, and I just wanted to go over, some of the other videos I had watched the first time around, not that were nothing like a ritual, but they were just it was all knowledge videos. And it just, like, whenever you watch something, when you watch someone, like, when you watch something of, like, oh, like, this is my experience, like, you can only relate, like, you can only relate on someone else's experience by something that actually happened, rather than something just you're looking up. So, like, the best way I can explain that is, like, I watched this video. That I'm about to talk about before I had watched this ritual video, and it did not twist me one way at all, and it just kind of sat in my mind, and my mind just soaked it all up, and I didn't have any real reaction to it. Well, this video, it was by no means, it was no Christian channel, it was no Christian video. This man was a Satanist. This video was just all anonymous. This man didn't want his face shown, and this guy was just talking about how he was a Satanist. He went to the hospital because he was sick, and then he had fell asleep when he was sick, and he described in his dream where in his dream he was all around darkness. Everything was dark, and he said there was outlines of doors everywhere, and he said that this person was with him that was flying with wings, and this person was talking to him like a normal person would, and it was being really friendly. And he said that this guy was walking along past all these doors, and he said all the doors were a cherishable and heartful memory from his life. And it was like from his life. And he was describing that the whole time that person or thing was telling him, like, hey, do you remember this? And, like, it was trying to be heartful. And the guy said that he had went into the door, and he said that this one door that he had went to, it was him and his mom. And he said that he was a teenager, and it was him and his mom was there, like, this was like very young, like they were at a park. And he said that in his memory, his mom just looked at him and just brutally started murdering him. And he said that he could not die, like he would not die in that memory. And he said that he felt everything that his mom was doing. He said that everything of his body he felt coming off. He said that he was describing everything that he had felt, and it's difficult for me to explain it because, like, it's so vivid. But this guy goes on, like, he comes out of that door just completely torn up, and he said that, like, he's going into another door, and he says he's going into these doors because of the thing that was there. Like, the thing was taking him into all these doors. And he said every time he had come out of a memory, he was more, like, drained and more, like, his fear. Like, he couldn't believe what was going on. And he said that every time he came out to the door and went to another one, the enemy, that thing was like, do you remember this? Like, it's not that bad. It gets better each time. And the guy said that he did not want to proceed with describing more of what he had saw, and like he was having problems speaking about it. It wasn't like, oh no, I'm done with this. Like, this man was stuttering and he could not get himself forward to talk about it. And when I had watched that video, it made me think like, oh, that just went right over my head. You know, like, that's something that I'll never experience that. That's something that will never happen to me. Well, sure enough, I watched the ritual video and I opened the door to that. You know, like, I don't even want to go over what was in the video, but you know, like, it's crazy. Like, the stuff that you could just watch and you bring curses on yourself. The Bible says that God says to your people, like, God says you are blessed and only you can curse yourself. And so you curse yourself by not living for God. So I wasn't living for God and I opened that door and I cursed myself. But this goes along with any sin, anything that you do. You drink a little bit, you get drunk, you live in drunkenness, you live in lust, you live in you're a thief. Like, you do all these things and you become deceitful, and that's how you live. That's how you live in sin. But what bothers me so much is that people are thinking like I was no different from before I had my testimony. I would always think to myself, I was bitter towards God and I didn't have this fear for God. And I always wanted to know, like, why is heaven real? Why is heaven so talked good about? And I always wanted to be polar opposite. I wanted to be different. So I always started thinking, like, what is hell really like? Like, what is hell really like? Like, why are people so scared of hell? How come the Bible only says so much about hell? And there wasn't no there wasn't no image to describe it. And that's what I wanted more for of. So, you know, like, you know, what's crazy is, like, I got revelation from that. Like, you look up what hell is really like, and you won't find out what hell is really like. You open up a door to the demonic realm, then you find out what hell is really like. You find out what the devil really can do. And that's what I did. That's literally what I did. And when I went through all that trauma, 4 months, 3.5 months, all that, just, I can't even just, like, I'm talking about physical, like, drain, like, no sleep, going through, I like, to this day, I remember everything. I remember hearing speaking in tongues in my dream of a deep demonic voice, bro. Like, you can't, I can't show that to you, like, and for me to experience that, like, I know what is real. Like, I know what it is like, and only what I had gone through, that is just the cherry on top to even describe what hell is like. And I thank God for his reconciliation for my life that he has covered unto me, because I opened this door that not a lot of people open, and they open because they have so much hate and resentment towards God. And yet here I am, and he has saved me. He has given me life. He has given me purpose. He has given me joy. He has blessed my life. And yet here I am. I'm trying to tell this to people. Like, I just watched a video of this girl who in her family, someone was a witch, and they had used her as a little girl in rituals, and she was 2 or 3 years old, and she remembers every vivid dream that she had because of the things that her family member did in those rituals. And what makes me so bothered is that the same dreams that she had described is the same exact dreams that I had. The same exact things that we had experienced. The same thing I knew she was talking about. And the dreadfulness in her eyes, the hesitant, everything. I know what that felt like. So, I guess it just wraps up this video. Like, people are dying every day wanting to know what hell is really like. And it's crazy because you have the audacity to ask yourself, to ask the people around you, to ask your life. Like, when you bring a thought like that into your life, you have the audacity to think, what is hell really like? Like, you will find out if you don't serve God. And you just as long as you live to the ways of this world, you will find out. And to that day, it will be done. Let it be done, because judgment will already be before your own eyes. It will already be set and done. And I pray for all these people, and I pray for people that God will bring in my life. But I hope, you know, my mistakes and my experiences aren't a lot. They aren't a lot of the same of a lot of other Christians, and at least of the ones that I know. And there's people with similar experience, like as such as mine. But I want to make this video talking about some of the extra stuff that I didn't talk about in the video that I made on my testimony. And I just want to wrap this video up. Thanks for watching.